So welcome today. We're here chatting to Pearly today, and we're talking about all things Nuzest. Pearly's been with Nuzest for a number of years now. She has been taking the brand and really evolved in her advocacy work with Nuzest. And we want to really understand about her story, how she uses it with her and her family, and or everything that Nuzest brings to her. So thanks for coming on, Pearly.
Hi everyone.
So when we first started working with you, Pearly, I understood you really were interested in the brand already, taking it, and your Instagram wasn't huge to begin with, but it's just exploded over the last few years. So it'd be great to understand how you came to see Nuzest and how it's evolved for you.
I think first of all, Nuzest is a product that I really enjoy taking. I first discovered Nuzest when I was looking around for a plant-based protein, mainly because I didn't like the taste of whey, and also I didn't digest whey very well. And when I take whey protein, I tend to feel very bloated and full all the time, and I didn't like that feeling. So as I was shopping around for a plant-based protein, I chanced upon Nuzest, and I think since then I've never really looked back because I feel like it has a great flavor, and also it digests my body digests it really well, and most importantly, it mixes really easily in water. Most of the time I am really busy, and I don't have the time to come up with elaborate recipes. So what I was looking for was really a protein that could like dissolve in just plain water and ice, and Nuzest does it for me.
So let's talk a little bit more about your journey before we jump into the taste and all of the aspects you love about Nuzest. I know that when you started, you were doing a lot more gym workout and there was a different focus of your Instagram, and that's really transitioned over time. Can you tell us more about that?
When I first started out, I had just had a massive mindset change. For a number of years, I was viewing exercise as an enemy, as a food as an enemy, and I always felt like um, I was on a weight loss program for years, and I tried practically every single fat diet out there in the market. So when I finally decided to do some research and study a bit about nutrition, and I started to move my body in ways that I liked, I discovered that there were so many other benefits to eating well and moving well. And at that point in time, uh, while I had a bunch of weight loss, a bunch of weight that I lost, um, I was still very focused on the aesthetics, and I guess at that point there was nothing really wrong with that. It was just my focus at that time. But since then, as I move on in my fitness journey, I actually have discovered that I actually do enjoy like exercising. I do enjoy resistance training, and more importantly now, I do enjoy endurance training. Specifically in running, trail running, as well as cycling. And that my journey has evolved a lot along the way. And now I have moved away from aesthetics and into really pushing myself, I find that nutrition is so much more important now than ever before.
And a lot of people are concerned. We get this question a lot from ladies specifically. I guess men are on the different spectrum, but a lot of ladies are concerned when they take additional protein and they're working out, whether that be cardio or going to the gym, they're so concerned about putting on huge muscle. Maybe you can share I mean, you don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger over there. So obviously you haven't put on so much muscle. So maybe you can share your story about how it's worked for you over time and the comparison of how it works for you as an endurance athlete now, as opposed to someone who was recreationally doing more gym for the weight loss and maintenance.
I think originally I used to be so afraid of protein. I used to when you walk into the nutrition shops and you see the huge tubs of protein, you think that, oh, if I eat protein, I'll be as huge as those tubs. So I always steered clear of those. And it was only after I did more research and I understood that it's actually pretty hard to gain muscle, and many times when people take protein as well as that are very high in carbohydrates, as well as additional carbohydrates and additional protein, additional fats, that's when you gain not just muscle but also fat, if you were to really work hard in the gym. So if you are able to have a holistic approach to training, and you have like fixed goals, then if you were to approach it scientifically, I think it's really quite easy to adjust your intake and adjust your training so that you can look the way you want to look.
And that's a great outcome that you've had over the time, having that realization that these are components to fitness and components to lifestyle that you've put together. And I know that when you got started with Nuzest, you actually tried a sachet. And I want to take this moment to say, in the description box below, Pearlly has a landing page and you can request your own free Nuzest sachet if you're living in Singapore or Hong Kong. So go ahead, have a look at that description box. You can put your details down and we'll send that out to you for free. So moving on, you also let your family have Nuzest, or they like to have Nuzest. Tell us a little bit of how your family uses Nuzest.
I think originally it was quite funny how we started. My son actually saw me shaking up a protein shake, and he asked me what that was. And I told him that it's a Nuzest protein shake and I take it, and so he asked me why I take it. And I told him that I take it because I want my muscles to recover, and when my muscles recover, I'm less likely to be injured. So when he heard my description of what protein does for me, he wanted a bit of it for himself too. So I told him, okay, really, right, hold your horses. There's a special one for kids. And that's when I introduced him to the kids' good stuff. It not only has protein, but it also has a bunch of various minerals and vitamins that are really essential for children's growth. For my son, I keep it simple also. I don't like come up with any elaborate recipes. I just really mix it with water and ice, and he's perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, I really love it when you mix it cold because it makes it taste so much better. You mentioned to me that I did ask you before we talked today about other supplements on the market, and I'd like to look into that. There are gummies for kids and there are other spot targeted supplements. Do you give those type of supplements to your son as well?
I have tried the gummies before, and I have given them to my son. But in all honesty, I don't feel comfortable with the fact that he is accustomed to the idea of reaching out for a gummy to be healthy. And mainly because in general in the market, most gummies don't have the best ingredients, right? So I don't like that association. And I feel like the best foods are still from whole foods. And I give him kids good stuff mainly because there are certain foods that he really doesn't enjoy, such as seaweed and mushrooms. So while he does take them, he doesn't enjoy taking them, and I completely get that. So I try to give it to him in a different form as a kind of insurance for his nutritional health.
And that's really evolved off the back of your journey as well, and you trying to you've been through so many of those weight loss crash diets, etc. I think that seems to have shaped how you think about your son's health. You did mention to me as well the flavors and textures of food are very important for him as well. So maybe you can share more about that.
I feel like when we eat, it's not just about what kind of nutrients we're putting into our body, but there's also an aspect of enjoyment, of experiencing textures, flavors, and the whole social aspect of it. So I think for children, it's really important that their mindset is right at a young age, and we don't associate eating with just like calories per se, or just disguising foods.
And I think that holistic movement in Singapore is really catching on, and people are really questioning some of the processes that the food goes through. And I do see a huge shift to exactly that: more wholesome, more farm to table, and more I guess, holistic in that sense. So I
Yeah.
think you'd agree that's happening in Singapore, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think there's a lot more awareness now, and I think even as we give food to our children, we also talk about where the food is from. A fish is not just a fish. Is it barramundi? Is it salmon? Is it cod? How is it? Is it farmed? Is it wild caught? What are the differences? What kind of vegetable is this? Is this like a lady's finger, or is this an eggplant? And there's a lot more education, and with education comes true appreciation.
And you brought up a lot of foods. If this is someone who's overseas, they may not even know what a lady's finger is. And I guess this is very Singapore context on the food. So for us, it's really interesting to see why people love Nuzest. And before we were chatting about how the taste is, although you enjoy the taste, that wasn't the primary reason why you got into Nuzest. There were some other factors that really made it for you. So maybe you want to talk about the texture of Nuzest and why it's different.
Mhm. So I think before I even found Muses, I had tried a bunch of different plant proteins, at least 15 different brands, and they were all like good stuff, and they were made from natural ingredients. They were organic, no bad stuff. But the main thing that got me about Muses is the texture, and I wanted something that I could shake up it within a minute and then just take it on the go. Many times I work out outside, or I work out during lunch hours uh, at work. So I really needed something that could mix really easily and didn't require a blender. And I felt that Nuzest was the most mixable protein. And I also felt like I digested it really easily. And I do enjoy the flavors of Nuzest.
So I know you work extremely hard. Do you ever use Nuzest as a meal replacement? Because this is another question we get asked all the time. So for me, I do. How about yourself?
I get asked this question a lot also. So my answer is a Nuzest shake contains less than 100 calories, right, Scott, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah, correct.
And I'm somebody that expends a lot of energy. I do long distance training once in a while, or a few times a week actually. So for me, I need a lot more calories than that. So I wouldn't consider it a meal replacement. In fact, it is a meat replacement for me, because for the amount of energy that I expend, I actually do require a lot of protein to recover, and so really for my body to heal itself. But if I were to take all that protein from meat, then I will be taking a lot of meat, and with that meat comes a lot of other hormones and fat and stuff like that. Or if I were to take it from plants, then it's also really hard. So I found that for someone who is really strapped for time, and I don't have that much time to source for ingredients and meal prep all the time. I really need something that is really fast, and that can supplement my protein needs within minutes. Yeah, so to answer your question, it's not a meal replacement for me, but it's a meat replacement.
And there's a lot of flexitarians are really doing that. They're blending their lifestyles and sometimes eating a heavy meat meal or replacing it with a high protein vegan protein. So this is really common and it's happening more and more. Now we get down to it. What is your favorite flavor of Nuzest Clean Lean Protein?
My favorite flavor always changes. Originally, it was vanilla matcha, and then it was coffee, and then it was strawberry, and now I have gone back to vanilla. Yeah,
And are you just a person that likes the variety of different tastes, or why do you feel like it changes all the time?
I think not really. I think it's because I don't have a strong preference for flavor,
Right.
honestly. Most of the time when I take the clean lean protein, I take it together with good green vitality.
And
So
what
uh,
flavors do you mix for that, or what is your best combo for that?
I feel that the best combo is strawberry and good green vitality.
Yeah, that's a
I feel like
hidden
it brings out
gem.
the best in both flavors.
Yeah, that's a hidden gem there. I think for me, it's also my favorite. And whenever we do events, we certainly mix those together. So I think if you haven't tried the strawberry and good green vitality, you should definitely get into that. How about your son? What's your son's favorite flavor?
Definitely the chocolate, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do see that in Singapore. Of course, our chocolate kids good stuff is loved by so many kids, I guess, because the chocolate really makes sure the taste is complete. So we do see that as a trend. So I'm always curious, you have such a big following. What is one common question that you always get with regards to protein?
A big proportion of my following are actually female. About 80% of my followers are female, and they're like me. Um, Either working women, mothers, full-time mothers, ladies in our 30s and 40s. And what the most common question, aside from how to get abs, is usually why do I even take protein? And I completely relate to that question because for many years, I never thought that anyone needed protein unless you were going to the gym to build humongous biceps, which I didn't want at that time. So only when I started to research more, I was more aware of um, of what protein does for our bodies, and I realized that everybody needs protein in their diet. It's an important macronutrient, and especially for people who don't get enough of it in their daily diets, it can be quite useful to use a protein supplement. So originally, I used a protein supplement because I was not I was reducing red meat and meat in general from my diet, and I found it difficult to get meat from plants. I mean, it's possible to get protein from plants, and it's possible, but I was really busy and I needed something that could fit into my busy schedule. And then as I progressed in my training, uh, even for now, I do quite a bit of endurance training. I train, I run and cycle at least 5 times a week. So with that, I expend a lot of energy. And if I were to replenish my uh, if I were to consume protein, sufficient protein, through natural sources, it might mean that I'm taking a lot of meat, or it's just a lot of food in general, and I find it can be quite hard to digest, and I truly just need something to supplement my protein needs. Um, so really, protein isn't just for people who are trying to build muscles, but also people who require supplement, who need to replenish the energy that they have expended through intense training. And at the end of the day, protein is required for your body to sufficiently recover and heal itself. Yeah, so the main reason why I take protein is really so that I can recover faster, better, and in the long run, um, be able to perform better.
And I think you really touched on some very big topics there, but just to dig in on the meat side, a lot of movies have come out recently, Seaspiracy and Cowspiracy, if you want to go back a little way. A lot of people are focused on reducing meat out of their life, and it doesn't, a lot of people are not going to go vegan or going to go vegetarian. I think they're in your place. So I think I'm not surprised that that is a massive question on your Instagram. But there's a second thing that you didn't touch on, but I know it is impactful for your life, and that is for aging parents. As we get older, we definitely degenerate in our muscles. And this is something I need to explain often, is that you should take protein and increase your protein over time in order to slow down that degeneration. So again, it comes back to recovery. It comes back to keeping the muscle you have as opposed to losing it.
Yes, exactly. And I'm very in tune with this because my parents live with me. So um, they do change up their diet quite a bit as they age. And my parents are still very active. They still do resistance training, and they still lift weights,
Wow.
and they still walk a lot, and my dad cycles. So they do see the importance of protein as well. So really, Nuzest is not just for myself, but my partnership with Nuzest has been impactful for not just me, but the whole of my family.
And it is safe. A lot of people ask me, um, is it safe to eat a lot of protein? And I often tell people, if you're willing to have beans on your plate, then it's sufficient. You're okay to have a protein shake every day, just as that supplement, just as that base. So I think there is fear and misconception that as you rightly said, that this is just going to bulk you up. And so many guys out there wishes that was true, but it's unfortunately it's quite a fallacy.
Yes, and I think my philosophy is never to let a myth or a fear stop me. So if I have a suspicion about something, I think the best thing to do is really to go deep into the research and to find out whether the myth is true or not, whether my fears are founded or not. Yeah, and I feel like it's really important to approach things scientifically, and I think there's a ton of research out there, and it's just there for us to discover.
And the great thing is, with that research being so accessible these days, it
Yep.
really is a test of you,
Yes,
because
exactly.
I know that you ran a test earlier this year. We don't need to say what it was, but it didn't work for you, but it does work for me. So not all tests are equal, and there are many ways to slice the cake. In this case, shake and Nuzest. So we we want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do and what's right for you. So it's great that you put yourself out there, you're fearless, and it comes through in what you're putting out as well. So is there anything else you want to leave with us? Like we said before, you can get a free sample. Pearlly's landing page is down below. Maybe you want to share with us your Instagram tag and any other updates that you have coming up that you want to share.
So if you head over to my landing page, I actually not only have a link for a free sachet, but I also have a long story of my fitness journey, how it started, how I got into it in the first place, and what motivates me to continue on my fitness journey. And I think for this year, I have a lot of new goals and new aims, and I'm quite excited for what the rest of the year brings. And I hope that you will find um, some useful resources on the Nuzest website also. In the meantime, if you want to stay in touch, or you want to just chat and discuss more on fitness, on nutrition, or anything on health, feel free to DM me at my handle, which is just Pearlly Luo.
And do you want to share about some of those goals that you have for the back half of the year, or you want to keep them secret and private for now?
I think I'll announce them on my IG page. Yeah.
Perfect. But we'll catch up with you, I'm sure, later on in the year. None of us are traveling, so we have a lot of time to catch up, hopefully. So hope we will catch up with you later on the year, see how it's been through the course of this year. All the best on the year. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, thank you for being an amazing Nuzest advocate.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.